So obviously, since the last time we met, it's been moved to the conference finals for the NBA playoffs. The four teams in it are the Mavericks, the Warriors, the Heat, and the Celtics. Obviously, East versus West. The Heat are up 1-0. They went one up 1-0 last night, and right now the Warriors are beating the Mavericks by 10 at halftime. So it's looking good for both those teams right now. I would like to hear Sayah's thoughts on what he thought about the Heat game last night.
With the Heat game, initially I was very scared. Throughout that first half, they did not have Al Horford or Marcus Smart, and they were kind of whooping us in the first half.
Yeah.
So I was very shook on that. But then Jimmy Butler turned it up, showed us why we are there, and my confidence is back to where Miami wins in six.
I can see that. I got the Heat in seven personally, but I wouldn't be surprised if they ended in six.
Thanks.
What do you
Jay, you
think
want to
about the
start?
game, Gio?
Depending on when Al Horford gets back for me and when Marcus Smart gets back, I feel like the Heat, they're too deep for the Celtics right now. So it
But
really depends on when those two guys get back.
did you have any thoughts about the game from last night?
Yeah. PJ Tucker, huge influence on why that defense is what it is, right? And I think that's a key reason why Milwaukee lost this season is because they didn't have that core piece in their defense like PJ Tucker like last season in their championship run. So I think that, Miami's going to have a deep run, especially since the fact that they have PJ Tucker, who's underappreciated in my book. So,
I agree. Especially he's not like a great offensive threat, but he can knock down buckets when needed.
yeah, but it's more on the, defensive side and the hustle.
Yeah,
So,
that's where he's most needed, but he can knock down shots too.
yeah.
In that corner.
What'd you say?
Put him in that corner.
Yes, sir. Yep. But I I think the big difference was when the Heat decided to put Jimmy Butler on Jason Tatum. I think that really changed the game right there because Tatum was doing anything he wanted in the first half. In the second half, Jimmy Butler comes out on him. He couldn't do anything.
Facts. As much as it was that, I have to give a lot of credit to my boy Bam as well.
Yeah,
Bam was lighting it up defensively. I don't know how many blocks exactly he had
I think he had four. Yeah,
by that four. I know it's at least three, but he played great defensively. I think he was like a big staple piece on why we won that game as well. Tyler did a little something. He was kind of the reason we were decently close in the first half.
yeah. The first half he was great. Second half he was all right.
Yeah, did a little bit.
But Jimmy Butler obviously was the main reason. His 41 points, and he was doing it on both sides of the floor too. Like he was doing everything last night.
Jimmy Butler top five.
Those steals though really opened up the game for the Miami Heat, especially since how close it was, and then those two steals obviously put them into, I believe, double digit leads. So really opened up the floor, made everybody calm down. I feel like their nerves in the second half. So
Yeah, I agree. I think once Jimmy Butler calmed everyone down, it was just cruise control for the Heat from there.
and then obviously we got to give credit to Strauss. Yeah, we got to give credit to Strauss, and we got to give credit to Gabe Vincent as well. Those guys, obviously played a huge part in the reason why they won, and they made key buckets at in the moment of the game. So
That's why you say like they're so deep. They like it's gonna be so hard to beat them because they have so many weapons who can hurt you. Because
right.
Oladipo and Hero didn't even play that great. If they played great, that would have been a blowout.
Fair. A big shout out to Gabe Vincent, I would say. Max Strus, yeah, he played decent, but he was also very, very poor in the first half, where he didn't really put up points, and then he was also defensively lacking, I feel like, where he was just letting anything go up and then
But he's not really known for his defense. I wouldn't say. But yeah, he shot it poorly, but he did make some key buckets, like Gio said.
Yeah.
But in the other series, the Warriors Mavs, a lot of people are surprised to see the Mavericks in this series out instead of the Suns. It was reported that Chris Paul played through a left quad injury in Game 7. I think he was playing through that for most of that series, and it was just a secret because the way he was playing, I don't see him playing like that if he was fully healthy. But I don't know. I think we need to give big respect to the Mavericks, and as we all overlook them, and everyone in the league and just fan wise overlooked them.
Luka took over that game.
Yeah, bro, he was on fire.
That boy was hooping.
I mean, it's insane to watch him do what he does. But you got something?
Yeah. For me, right. Obviously, Game 3, we saw Chris Paul take 8 shots, 4 shots, right, in the whole entire game. I don't believe he made even half of those shots. So we obviously know that Chris Paul before that game was shooting about 20 shots per game, right?
Yeah.
Averaging about maybe 35 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And then the majority of his production of the game comes in the fourth quarter, where we didn't, see that through games 3 through 7. So, with a healthy Chris Paul, obviously, we believe that the Suns would have won that series. But overall, Luka Doncic, he's doing his thing. Finney and Bullock, Brunson, all 3 of those guys, they step up in key moments, and can't ask anything better for those guys. So.
And you have to shout out Spencer Dinwiddie, especially in Game 7. He came out to play that game.
Yeah, but even in that game, it was already a blowout. So I feel like the points he scored were just fluff points. I would say, just because I don't think Spencer's that guy in the playoffs. We've seen him show up. We've seen him show up in the regular season, right? But when games are close, I don't think we've seen him make that many baskets in the playoffs.
Say, you got something to say?
I think it was 2018, 2019. Brooklyn Nets. It was my boy D. Loading and Spencer Dinwiddie.
That's right.
Did they win a game? I think they won one.
I think so.
I like how my boy Spencer played in that series.
He has shown flashes, but I think Gio's saying like he hasn't shown it consistently enough to where you can say he's a playoff performer.
That's valid. There's very few, though, I would say, that are like playoff performers strictly.
Yeah, that's
right.
True.
And you got to credit that win to Jared Dudley as well, though. He did have a monster game when they won that game in that playoff series.
Fair.
But on the Sun side, obviously now they're out of the playoffs, and it's not known if Deandre Ayton will re-sign with them because he wants the max and they don't want to give him the max. They only played him 17 minutes. He's not happy. It's not looking good, to put it nicely. Do you guys think that he's going to stay with the Suns, or you think he's going to leave?
He's restricted, right?
Yeah.
So the Suns can match it if they want to?
They can, yeah.
Okay. Do you think a team pays him max money, though?
I think a bad team would.
Portland could. I could see Portland throwing the max.
That's the rumors. Portland.
Okay, so you got money like that?
Yeah, they have a bunch of money.
Okay, see, I could see throwing the bag too. Nah, I don't think Aiden comes back.
I don't think so either, personally. What do you think, Gio?
It'd be very tough, but I would like to see him go someplace where he could possibly be a contender, right? Possibly like a Minnesota, put, Cat at the 4, right? Go Twin Towers with those two. Go someplace where he's able to win, because I don't think he's not going to do that great. Obviously, I don't think, even on a bad team, just because I don't think he's got that, mentality to just go ahead and score like a Shaq type of player. He's more like a Rudy Gobert. I feel like he's going to have like that type of career.
I mean, yeah, he doesn't look for his shots, but he can score better than Rudy, I would say.
He can score better than Rudy, but he's soft like Rudy, I would say.
Yeah, that's fair.
Would that be a sign trade to Minnesota?
I would like to see that, right? Because if they could get rid of Vanderbilt or McDaniels, right, that would be huge for Phoenix because they're just so great offensively, and then their defense, right, they're also a great hustle player as well. As we saw in the playoff series, where they were, going after every board, every loose ball, right? That's why they made it so close against Memphis, because of those types of players like Vanderbilt and McDaniels. So,
I mean, there's obviously one team that came to my mind when I saw the Ayton news, but like, I just don't think the Lakers have that enough money for that, personally.
Trade Russ.
Yeah, that's the only way, but like, the Suns wouldn't do that.
can I be honest with you?
Yeah,
I would honestly have Marcus All rather than Ayton. If you want a winning franchise, I'm not trying to get Ayton.
that's fair because he hasn't proven much in the playoffs for the
Right.
Suns. A regular season, yeah, but playoffs, he does play great here and there, but sometimes he's just too inconsistent.
I feel like it's more the greatness of Chris Paul than it is Ayton, of
Yeah,
why he's been playing so well in the playoffs, especially last year.
yeah, because the pick and rolls, alley oops.
Right.
Yeah, I can see that for sure. With that being said, like if Ayton leaves, do you think the Suns still have a chance of being the top team in the league and competing for a championship?
Gia, all you, sir.
I believe they can, especially if Chris Paul is healthy, right? Fully percent healthy. We haven't seen Chris Paul fully healthy in a playoff run. I don't think maybe his second year with maybe the Clippers, right? Because I know he got hurt when they blew that 3-1 lead. He was hurt for a
Mhm.
couple of those games. So it was before that where we've seen Chris Paul fully healthy in the playoffs. So every single year he's gotten hurt later, sooner or later. And I don't know. They need 100% Chris Paul to either make a run and be contenders. So
That's fair. What do you think, Saya?
Nah, I don't think they're contenders.
You don't think they can even like contend for the playoffs or just championship?
Championship. I think they're easy playoffs.
Okay,
But wait, this is with Ayton or without?
without
without.
him.
I don't see them as contenders, but I also see them better than if they kept Ayton.
Okay.
I think if they can get a center that like fits
Right.
what they want to do,
Hmm.
I think they could be very, very good and get like Western Conference Finals.
Yeah, I agree. I don't see them making a deep run without Aiden if they do end up letting him go. But it's also rumored that Chris Paul might retire. He said he's not thinking about that right now, but you never know. He's getting up there in age. He's 37. I mean, he's been playing for years, so I think it all depends on that. We have to wait and see on that decision first.
You should just come to Miami on the minimum this offseason, get a quick ring, man.
Now, if he really wants to ring chase, he should come play with his buddy LeBron.
Nah, they'll just veto that again, bro.
That's true. What do you think, Gio?
It's real tough, right? Because I don't see a spot where Aiton's gonna fit and make a difference, at least right now.
Mhm.
I know Phoenix can obviously get a center that fits with their system, just because just how great they have been, and it's a destination that players want to go to, at least right now. To play with Devin Booker and Chris Paul, that would be great to do. If they can trade for like Claxton or something, some center that's gonna work hard, do their part, and not be heavy headed. Especially since Ayton, there have been rumors where he did not want to play in that second half of that loss, game 7 against Dallas. So if those rumors are true, I would not want that player on my team, especially if he's supposed to be making, the big bucks like a superstar. So
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, he has shown, effects of being hot-headed, like you said.
mhm.
So it might be the best option for them to let him go. But I mean, also, if they can't get anything good back, it might not be.
Ideally, they would bring him back, I think.
I think so too.
With that, not necessarily like back to the team to contend next year,
Mhm.
but at least to like have him come back and then trade, hopefully.
Yeah, I can see that. So they can actually like get something for him.
Yeah, but
I don't know. I feel like that relationship, even before this season, it was already broken, and now it's broken more since he is mad about playing only 17 minutes.
Facts.
So I don't know. I feel like it might be best for both parties to move on, but we'll just have to wait and see.
Did y'all see what Pat Bev said about Chris Paul?
Yeah, I'm not a fan of what he said.
Bro, how are you an NBA player and you're that dumb?
Exactly. Did you see Danny Green's response though?
Yeah, Danny Green was on point with that.
Facts. I love that response.
And I'm not a fan of Danny Green right now after he torched Miami in game 4.
All
Game
games, really.
3.
Yeah. Bro.
Wow.
I don't think Pat Bev is in the right to say that personally, but that's just me. What do you think, Gio?
I believe in circumstance he's right, because Chris Paul is a liability, especially on defense. Offensively, he did not say anything wrong about him, but defensively, he knows that everyone wants to, be able to, go past CP3, especially since he's only 6 feet tall, right? Even Ja Morant, I feel like Trae Young, all those guys, we've seen him fall a bunch of times against Steph. He's a defensive liability, and I think that's what Pat Bev was trying to say.
I
Would
mean,
you say healthy?
oh, go ahead. You go ahead.
Would you say a healthy Chris Paul is a defensive liability too?
Oh, any Chris Paul is a health or a defensive liability.
I mean, yeah, he's never been a great defender, but I just don't think that Pat Bev is in the right to say that because Chris Paul always has been and will be better than Pat Bev. And I feel like Pat Bev is just known for his defense. He's not known for anything else. So I don't think he's in the right to say what he said.
Well, here's the thing. Pat Bev did say that Chris Paul is going to be a Hall of Famer. Give credit to him. He's a great point guard. Just don't put him up there with the greats like that. You know what I'm saying? Magic had his career ended short, right? He still had 5 championships, all the accolades he had, right? He's the greatest point guard of all time. Chris Paul is missing a ring. What about Charles Barkley? What about all these other guys that are missing rings that could potentially be lifted up multiple spots in their position or greatness level if they just had that one ring? I feel like people are, putting Chris Paul too high, especially the fact that he has been in the league for 17, 18 years, right? And the greatness level, you are supposed to be doing that, right? If you are great, I'm sure you can get the numbers like that. Like LeBron James has gotten those numbers. Chris Paul has gotten numbers. Russell Westbrook has gotten numbers, right? So all Hall of Famers can get numbers. It's the fact getting that ring, and that's why Pat Bev doesn't believe he's top 5.
Do you believe he's top 5 though?
I believe he's a great point guard. I have to see if he gets a ring. I understand the point he's trying to make about being a top 5 point guard and being able to have that ring and the accolades. But to me, it's just different. It depends on what point guard you really want. So
For me, he's a top 5 point guard whether he gets a ring or not because he's a point god. He literally controls the game. There's no point guard who's done this with like Chris Paul has before, in my opinion. And I don't see another point guard who will do it when he retires. And I think that's when people start taking it for granted that they or start realizing that they took it for granted.
I also believe another factor to Chris Paul being a top 5 point guard is like the way he teaches players as well.
Yeah, his leadership.
Because if you look at Shea Gilgeous-Alexander before Chris Paul was in OKC, he like had little flashes. Then Chris Paul went there, he started showing out. Chris Paul leaves, and he's still a dog. I think the teachability also makes him even like more solidified as a top 5 point guard than he already is for me.
Yeah.
But I think you wilding for saying he needs a ring to be top 5 though.
Yeah, I agree. I don't agree with that. I think he's a top 5 point guard, whether he gets a ring or not.
So for me, right, it comes down to, the Big O, Magic, Isaiah Thomas. I feel like all three of those guys are ahead of him. Possibly Jason Kidd, right? Because Chris Paul is like Jason Kidd, and when Jason Kidd was in his prime, he was just as good, if not greater than Chris Paul's prime. So I would have those guys as like true point guards, right? I would have Steph Curry over Chris Paul. But the fact is, I don't feel like Steph Curry is a point guard per se. I feel like he's more of a shooting guard. But him and John Stockton, I don't believe John Stockton ever got a ring, right?
I don't think so.
He never got a ring. For him to be top 5 and Chris Paul, he would be the deciding factor. So you can interchange those fine, be 5 and 6. But John Stockton's going to be 5 or Chris Paul's going to be 5.
Honestly, I would put Paul over Jason Kidd personally.
I would put him over Big O too. But that's also might just be like Big O's old, so.
Yeah, that's true.
But so if Chris Paul went to the Lakers and won a ring with Kobe, where would you put him?
I would probably put him maybe 4, maybe possibly 3, just because the size does play a factor. And if he did get maybe 1 ring or 2 rings, I would have put him over Oscar Robertson. So because of the size factor, right? His greatness at that size to play a factor in a game like that and be that great, it's just it plays a big part in why he's so great is because of his size.
So Bam Adebayo, is he a top 5 center?
No,
No.
not even close. No.
Is it because he's only 6'9"?
Well, no, it's more the eye test. We've seen better centers.
Oh, I'm not saying all time.
Oh, you're not saying all time? No.
Oh yeah, sorry. No, that would be so out of pocket if he was.
Yeah,
if
I
was
thought you were saying all time. In the league, it'd be tough. We got Embiid, we got Jokic. He might be top 5.
I would put him top 5.
I would have to think more on it, but he could be top 5.
I can't think of 5 centers better than Bam off the top of my head.
I don't even know like 5 great centers in the league off the top of my head, bro.
Well, there's Embiid, right? You got Jokic.
Yeah, obviously those two are
You got Cat.
True.
Oh, Cat's another good one. I was thinking about like Valanciunas and then Vucevic, but like they're not better than Bam.
I think Valanciunas is pretty close, I feel like.
The only other one I could think of is like a healthy Anthony Davis if he plays the 5.
I would really put him at the 4 though. To be honest,
Yeah.
I'm having Jared Allen, a healthy Jared Allen over Bam Adebayo. 1, because I feel like his blocking ability is better. Rebounding is better. Inside the paint, offensively is better. I would have to give the IQ to Bam and perimeter defense to Bam. So
Skill wise, I got Bam over Jarrett personally, but I can see where you're coming from. I personally think that Bam's a better defender than Jarrett.
I agree, just in terms of overall defense. You're right in the shot blocking and like the rebounding aspects. But I also think Bam's, for how much better Bam is offensively than Jared Allen, I think Jared Allen defensively at those two things isn't far enough of a gap to say he's better than Bam.
I think,
You know what I'm saying?
yeah, I think to put him over Bam, he'd have to get better offensively.
It's fair though.
It is fair. They're both. I mean, you could make an argument for Jared Allen being top 5 easily.
right.
But Gio, I know you don't want to see Chris Paul retire, so I'd like to hear your thoughts on those rumors.
So even though I just blasted Chris Paul, right, and not being a top 5 point guard right now, he is one of my favorite players of all time. I've watched him ever since he was on Wake Forest, right? Being on the Hornets as well in New Orleans. He's so fun to watch because he's so relatable in the fact that he's so small, yet he's so great in the fact that he's able to maneuver on the floor, able to pull up on those mid-range shots like he does on the elbow, right? So, and the passing ability is insane as well, the IQ, the ability to create fouls. I want to see him get a ring very badly. I want to see him. I feel like once he gets that ring, he will be cemented in top 5 all time. But we just got to see him play one more season. I think next year could be the year. You're, just like LeBron, each year passes and you're moving farther away than for a chip. So
That's true. Do you think he should retire, or do you think he should play out one more year?
I think he's still got a lot left in the tank, to be honest.
Even with all the injuries he's accumulated the past seasons?
I feel like if he gets healthy, right, with that hamstring or quad, whatever the case may be, he'll be pretty good. Overall, the productivity stayed the same through the regular season. I feel like if he didn't get hurt, if he is used more, like utilized more, right, and the fact that he's rested in the regular season more, then he'll be rested for the postseason. So
That's fair. But do you think the Suns have the luxury to rest him?
yes, they do. They have, if Cameron Payne plays like he did last year, if Cam Johnson, right? If he, steps up to the plate, because I feel like he does have the talent where he can. If he jumps up another level, I feel like they'll be able to rest Chris Paul more.
That's fair. But I personally, I just don't see the Suns ever resting him unless he's hurt,
Right.
which I feel like takes a lot out of the tank, and then it hits him in the playoffs when it matters most.
Exactly.
So if he does end up coming back, I feel like they will, like you said, have to sit him for a couple games here and there. And I feel like the same thing's going to have to happen with LeBron James as the years go on if he continues to play.
Right.
Like this past year, LeBron, had injury management. It was obviously resting.
Yep.
So I feel like you're right about that. And I think Chris Paul does have one more year in him. And I hope that he can win the championship because, like you said, that would just put his legacy over the line.
For sure.
What do you got to say, Saya?
That boy Chris Paul. I want to see him win. I want to see him win a ring really badly.
Me too.
It would have been really cool to see him win it in Phoenix because it's a Chris Paul led team. But he might have to ring chase for it. What do y'all think about that?
I think if he doesn't win it with Phoenix next year, if he comes back to Phoenix, I think it might be time for him to move teams to see if he can get a ring before retiring.
There you go.
I would have to agree. I don't think it would diminish his legacy at all. Just like Carmelo Anthony, if he gets a ring, I don't think anyone's gonna remember the days when he was on the Houston Rockets or Trail Blazers for that matter, or Oklahoma City, right? They're gonna remember him in New York, him in Syracuse, right? Those two spots, and then him getting a ring and how he's became an amazing player, won 3 gold medals, an NBA championship, and an NCAA tournament championship. So that's all it comes down to.
I agree.
Huh?
But Gio, you got a segment you got to do?
Sneaker news is pretty quiet this week. We got Roy Hachimura's Japan PEs coming out in the 36s, coming out in the 8s, and then they're so be on the lookout for those. And yeah, moving on to video games. Anything new?
No, I mean, video game world's been pretty quiet, but I've been playing a lot. Been playing a lot of Madden 22. I like that game. If you are into it, I strongly suggest it. It's a good game. I like the graphics. A lot of people talk bad about it, but I personally like it. And yeah, that's about it. On to music.
So there's 2 people I'm gonna shout out to today. One's Kendrick Lamar for dropping that album. The second one's got to be my boy Chance the Rapper, who dropped a single on Monday. Both, I like the album. I thought Kendrick was gonna go in more, but I also liked Chance's single a lot to be in my playlist. So
That was a good album. I like that album.
like the.
Thank y'all for watching. See y'all on the next episode.
If y'all feeling it, y'all can comment, and Geo.
Hey, make sure you guys subscribe. We'll see you on the next episode. Peace.
Peace.